You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet ache in your chest, the sense that something sacred remains unfinished. As if love knocked once, but no one opened the door fully. And yet, you still stand there, hand on the doorknob, heart listening for footsteps. The angels have watched you wait without bitterness. They have heard your silent prayers whispered in the stillness of late nights. And today, they come with a message: this story is not over. He hasn't said it yet, but he will. Not in the way you imagined, neatly wrapped in perfect timing. No, it will come unraveled, late, unsure, but honest. Because the words you've been longing to hear aren't trapped in his silence out of cruelty. They are caught in the fragile space between awakening and fear. The angels say, he speaks to you through the choices he hasn't made yet. Through the distance that hurts him, too. He wasn't sent to you by accident. And you, so radiant in your quiet strength, were never meant to be forgotten. You were chosen to be the mirror he didn't know he needed. The lesson. The light. The voice that lives inside him even when yours is silent. There is a reason your energy shook his world. A reason your name sits softly in the back of his throat, even when he doesn't speak it. You didn't just arrive in his life, you were woven into the fabric of it. From long before either of you could understand the gravity of spiritual timing. And now, something in him is shifting. Slowly. Painfully. But it's real. You've awakened a part of him that was buried under years of numbing, surviving, pretending. And though he may not yet know how to express it, the angels show that a door inside him has opened, a door only you could find. You are not here to chase, to fix, to prove. You are here to witness, to shine, to stand in your knowing. And when he is ready, truly ready, the words will come. But let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. James 1 verse, for there's a reason he keeps pulling away. Not because you are too much, but because you see too much. And that terrifies him. He's not used to being seen the way you see him. Past the masks, past the well-rehearsed smiles and practiced indifference. With you he feels exposed, and not in a way that demands shame, but in a way that calls him to truth. And truth, dear soul, is something he spent a lifetime avoiding. The angels say, he's afraid of the light you bring because it forces his shadows to speak. You touched something raw in him. A grief unprocessed. A tenderness long buried beneath years of self-protection. You reached the parts that no one else noticed. The pieces even he had forgotten were there. It's not rejection. It's fear wrapped in silence. Sometimes the people who need love the most are the ones who run hardest from it. And he's running, not from you, but from the possibility that you might actually be real. That this love might not hurt the way it used to. That you might not leave the way others did. But every time he distances himself, it's not out of coldness. It's defense. Armor. And it's cracking. Slowly. He was taught that closeness leads to pain. That vulnerability opens wounds. That needing someone is weakness. And you, gentle as moonlight, are undoing that narrative with your presence. But don't mistake his distance for indifference. His silence isn't empty. It's full of battles you cannot see. And though he doesn't yet know how to meet you in the open, he feels safer with you than he has with anyone else. That safety is unfamiliar. And the unfamiliar feels dangerous to a heart conditioned to survive, not to thrive. The angels remind you, healing doesn't look like clarity at first. It looks like confusion. Retreat. Testing the waters and pulling back again. You are witnessing a soul in conflict. And even in this, your love is at work. Quietly. Powerfully. Without pressure. What you offer isn't a demand, it's an invitation. One his soul recognizes, even if his wounds resist. He's not pushing you away because you aren't enough. He's pulling back because you're the first thing that ever felt like enough. You don't have to burn to keep someone else warm. The angels need you to remember this now, because in loving him, you've forgotten parts of yourself. Not intentionally. It happened like rain soaking into dry earth, slowly, invisibly. Your boundaries faded where your compassion overflowed. Your needs began to whisper so his wounds could speak louder. But healing does not require your self-sacrifice. He is on his path. And you, beautiful soul, must remain on yours. The angels say, you were never asked to carry what was not yours. Only to shine, not to shrink. You have spent nights wondering if you're too intense, too open, too loving. But those questions were never yours to answer. They were echoes of old stories, stories that taught you to dim, to delay your joy, to wait on love as if it were something earned rather than received. Your softness is not a flaw. It's your superpower. And while this person wrestles with his shadows, you are being called back to your own light. To rest. To remember. To reclaim the parts of you that got lost in the hope that love would fix what only healing can. It's okay to want him. It's okay to love him. But it's not okay to abandon yourself in the name of potential. You are not here to pour endlessly into someone who has not yet learned how to hold the sacredness of what you give. The angels remind you that true love doesn't cost your peace. It adds to it. It amplifies your strength. It doesn't drain it. So tend to your soul. Choose rituals that bring you back to yourself. Move your body. Speak your truth. Laugh. Cry. Sing if you need to. Heal out loud. Not as a way to earn his love, but as a way to honor the divine love within you. Because here's what the angels see: the more you return to yourself, the more magnetic you become. Not just to him, but to life. The love you desire cannot grow where your light is dimmed. So protect your radiance. You are not the rescuer. You are the reward. You didn't just enter his life, you cracked it open. The angels say, your presence is like a mirror too honest to ignore. It reflects what he's hidden, what he's buried beneath achievements, distractions, and logic. With you, there's no pretending. No script to follow. No safe distance. Just truth, raw, wild, and sacred. And that scares him more than anything. You see, some people go their entire lives avoiding mirrors. Not the kind in the bathroom. The kind that stare back with soul in their eyes. The kind that say, I see you, even the parts you don't show. You are that mirror. You didn't try to be. You simply are. He thought he knew who he was. Thought he had love figured out. But you? You dismantled his certainty with a single look. You held up a truth he wasn't ready to see, that real love requires real presence. And that kind of love requires transformation. Every time he looks at you, something stirs, something ancient, something aching. It's not just desire. It's recognition. His soul knows yours. And that knowing is both comforting and terrifying. Because to love you fully, he'd have to let go of the version of himself that doesn't feel worthy of being loved like that. The angels show that your light is calling him higher, but to rise, he must release the numbness, the ego, the illusion of control. And that's not an easy request for a man who has built his survival on self-containment. You didn't break him. You revealed him. And that revelation is sacred. Even if he resists it now, even if he runs, his soul is already rearranging itself in response to your frequency. He is remembering something he thought was lost, the right to feel, to fall, to be vulnerable. This love is not ordinary. It's catalytic, alchemical. It transforms everything it touches, including you. So while he struggles to look into the mirror you hold, trust this. One day, he'll see not just himself, but the grace that allowed him to be seen at all. That grace, dear soul, is you. It begins subtly, like morning light brushing against closed eyelids. The angels say, he's waking up, not with thunder, but with trembling. And it's you who stirred the shift. Not with loud declarations, not with ultimatums, but simply by being real in a world that taught him to fear the real. You didn't demand change. You embodied truth. And now, his heart is listening. There's a pause before all awakenings. A strange, quiet ache. As if the soul remembers something the mind hasn't yet caught up with. That's where he is now. On the edge of something new, feeling everything but naming nothing. He's noticing things he used to ignore. The weight of silence between messages. The way your absence echoes. The kindness in your voice when you didn't have to be kind. The fact that your presence felt like home, even when his walls were up. These realizations aren't loud. They're lingering. They don't arrive with fireworks. They seep in, like truth through cracks in old armor. He's waking to the fact that no one ever looked at him the way you did. That your love didn't try to mold him, it invited him to be more of who he truly is. And that, dear soul, is where everything begins. The angels show that he is at a crossroads now. Not of decision, but of recognition. He's realizing that he never stopped thinking of you. That he never truly left. He just paused the part of himself that knew how to stay. And in this awakening, his defenses begin to falter. He finds himself reaching for your memory in quiet moments, replaying your words, noticing your absence more than he ever admitted to himself. Something is growing where there once was only fear, courage, still shaky, still unsure, but real. This is the moment before the words are spoken, before the gestures change, before he returns, not as who he was, but as someone ready to become. And you? You already planted the seed. Let the angels water it in silence. Let time unfold its bloom. Because what's awakening now in him is love. He comes close, then disappears. It's a dance you never chose but have learned to recognize. The angels say, this cycle is not rejection, it's resistance. And not to you, dear soul, but to himself. To the softness you awaken. To the vulnerability he swore he'd never show again. He doesn't know how to stay, not because he doesn't want to, but because staying requires him to feel. And feeling means remembering everything he worked so hard to forget. This back and forth is not punishment. It's a process. One that wears you down, yes. But also one that slowly strips away everything false in him. Each time he pulls away, he thinks it's for good. That if he creates enough distance, he'll finally stop wanting you. But distance doesn't silence soul connections, it amplifies them. The angels show me he often leaves in hopes that the feeling will fade. That logic will win. But what he finds instead is a deeper hunger. A loneliness that only your energy can soothe. And so he returns. Again. And again. Not because he's careless, but because he's being remade. And healing is not linear. Every cycle is a lesson. Every return brings him closer to the truth. And though you may ache in the in-between, the angels remind you, your soul knew this rhythm before your mind ever named it. You were never here to chase. Only to anchor. To stay rooted in your own becoming while he learns how to stop running from his. Do not measure your worth by his timing. Measure it by your courage to love without losing yourself. He is not ready to meet you where you are, not yet. But he's learning. Every departure breaks a piece of the armor he's worn for years. Every return is proof that something inside him is shifting. Let the space between be sacred. Let the silence be instruction. Let the love be steady even when he is not. Because when he finally breaks free from the loop, when the cycle ends, it will be because your light taught him stillness. And not even fear can resist that forever. It wasn't grand gestures that reached him. It was the quiet. The angels say, your love healed him in places no one else knew were broken. You didn't arrive with the intention to fix. You didn't beg to be needed. You simply loved, with eyes that saw the soul beneath the fear, with hands that offered softness instead of solutions. And that undid him. There is a kind of love that doesn't force its way in but settles gently where the pain has lived too long. Yours did that. In the silence between your conversations, in the space where words couldn't reach, your energy became balm. He felt you even when you were apart. Especially then. Not because he's fragile, but because you remind him of what's sacred. You became proof that love can be tender without being weak. That someone can see his shadows and still choose to stay present. The angels show that your love didn't just touch his heart, it softened the edges of old scars. It made him question why he ever believed love had to hurt to be real. For the first time, he's starting to understand, love can be safe. And that realization? It's unraveling years of defense. But make no mistake, this healing is slow. Because when someone has lived in emotional drought, even a little rain feels overwhelming. Still, he returns to the memory of you. The way you listened without trying to fix anything. The way you created space without any demands. The way your mere presence made the room feel like it belonged to his future, not his past. Your love didn't shout. It lingered. It breathed. It waited. And in that stillness, something sacred grew. He may not have the words yet, but his soul understands. You were the remedy. Not because you solved him, but because you honored what was sacred in him, even when he could not. And that kind of love? It doesn't fade. It takes root. Let the angels complete what love started. The unfolding of this love is not a mistake. It's a map. The angels say, every delay, every silence, every inexplicable return, it's all divinely timed. You may wonder if the story has gone off track. If something sacred was lost to human fear. But the heavens whisper otherwise. Nothing is lost when it's held in God's hands. He was never yours to cling to. He was yours to meet, to awaken, to reflect, and now, to release to the rhythm of divine timing. You did your part. You answered when your soul felt the call. You stayed when it hurt. You loved when it would have been easier to shut down. And now, you trust. Even now, when it seems like he's drifting away again, when his words feel far away, or when the connection grows quiet, there is a greater movement happening beyond the surface. A choreography that only the divine could create. He's being guided, just as you are. You're not waiting. You're preparing. Because what's coming next will not resemble the past. The version of him that will return will not be the man you first met, but the man finally ready to love as deeply as he feels. And this time, it won't be rushed. It won't be unfinished. It will be sacred. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6. Let this be the verse that carries you. Because when you cannot trace his steps, you can still trust the map God is drawing beneath your feet. He may take longer than you hoped, but he is coming. And when he does, he will arrive by divine appointment, not because you asked, but because heaven said it was time. There is a breaking point that leads to softness. The angels say, he is not cold. He is afraid. And love, real love, terrifies him. You stir something in him he cannot outrun. A longing not just for you, but for who he becomes when he is with you. And that version of him is unguarded. He has built walls, not out of malice, but out of survival. Each stone laid by betrayal, abandonment, disappointment. And now you arrive, not as a threat, but as an invitation. To be bare. To be whole. To be loved in the places he thought unlovable. But exposure feels like danger to a heart that's only known conditional love. The angels show that he has stood at the edge of your love many times, peering into it like a vast ocean. Wanting to dive. Terrified he'll drown. It's not that he doesn't feel. It's that he feels too much. And when emotion rises like a tide, his instinct is retreat. He hides behind logic. Behind detachment. Behind silence. But even there, in the quietest corners of himself, your presence lingers. He replays your laughter. Your words. The way your eyes softened when you saw the parts he tried to hide. And though he may not speak it, he aches to be seen like that again. The angels say, your love is peeling away his armor, layer by sacred layer. And underneath? He is tender. He is raw. He is terrified of not being enough. But you already know that, don't you? Because you've seen his soul, not just his behavior. And your soul whispered yes, even when logic screamed no. That yes is changing him. Don't confuse his withdrawal with rejection. It's a pause, a gasp for air as his soul learns to breathe in a new atmosphere. He will return. Not polished. Not certain. But open. And that opening is the beginning of everything. For when I am weak, then I am strong. 2 Corinthians 12 verse 10. Let that verse cover his fears, and yours. He doesn't need to be fearless. He only needs to be willing. You weren't meant to chase him. You were meant to love him freely, and then release him gently into the hands of something greater than both of you. The angels say, love in its truest form never clings. It trusts. It blesses. It lets go, even when it longs to hold on. You've done what your soul came here to do. You showed him what safe love feels like. You offered presence without pressure. And now the next part of the story is not yours to write alone. It belongs to the divine. Yes, he might return. Yes, he might stay. But what matters most now is not what he chooses, it's what you choose. And the angels ask you to choose peace. Because true love isn't proven in pursuit, it's proven in patience. In knowing your worth doesn't rise or fall based on someone else's readiness. You are not unfinished because he hasn't spoken the words. You are not unseen because he struggles to look clearly. You are complete. You are radiant. You are ready. The angels show you standing at the threshold of a new chapter, not alone, but whole. Not empty, but open. Not waiting, but trusting. Whatever comes next will be better than what you imagined, because it will be aligned, not forced. Sacred, not salvaged. And if he is part of that future, it will be because he chose it from his fullness, not his fear. Let that be your prayer now, not that he returns, but that love returns to you in its most divine form. Fully, willingly, aligned with grace. And it will. The angels are already preparing the way. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. Exodus 14 verse 14. Let that promise anchor you. The love you gave is never wasted. And the love that is yours always finds its way home.